making a WebXR Tic-Tac-Toe game with voice chat in a week-ish, aka on the Code of Giants at TechFAIR Live, April 2021. Side note, speaking of giants, how good is Attack on Titan? When that person did that thing, wow, no spoilers. Hi, I'm Dwane, a JavaScript developer advocate at Vonage, a cloud communications company, basically making it easier to communicate with people and things on the internet. Before we start, a couple of things about me that have helped me in my coding journey. I'd like to think I'm clever and determined. When presented with a challenge, I can come up with a solution based on things I have around at my disposal. That probably came from watching a lot of episodes of MacGyver as a kid. Don't hold me to this, but I'm pretty sure he took some office supplies and made a helicopter to escape from the bad guys. A great philosopher once said, "Difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week." Jay-Z and probably others. For me, the trick is that the impossible is a smaller, more manageable impossible from a much larger impossible. That's supposed to be a brick. So when I was asked to give a presentation at TechFAIR Live, I took the opportunity to build something I had in the back of my mind for a while. Last year, I made a tic-tac-toe game with video chat using some of the Vonage APIs. Here's a demo video. More recently, I've been writing a series of blog posts and doing presentations on web components. One web component that has always amazed me was the model viewer component. It helps make using WebXR, virtual and augmented reality on the web, easier by abstracting away a lot of the technologies that go into it. So I figured I would mash all those things together and see what I could come up with utilizing what people have done before me. Here's what came from it. Let's play a game. I'm logged in as another player on my tablet. Since I can't demonstrate it live, here is a video of the game in augmented reality mode. Now, here's how I put the project together. I wanted to put the project in a place where others can see a demo and the code. My go-tos are CodePen for quick HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript demos, Glitch for a project that may need a backend Node server, Code Sandbox if I want to use a JavaScript library or framework like Angular, React, Svelte, Vue, etc. I went with Glitch since I would need a server for routing, creating rooms, and generating tokens. I needed to create a WebXR environment for the tic-tac-toe game to live in. Some ways include A-Frame, Babylon.js, and 3.js. I'm more familiar with Model Viewer, so I decided to go with that since I knew it could handle what I needed. My plan was to get 3D models of the tic-tac-toe board and X&O markers, plug them into Model Viewer, and have it create the WebXR experience. Where to get the 3D models? Some 3D model galleries and stores are Clara, Sketchfab, and TurboSquid. I did a search for tic-tac-toe but could not find anything I could use. The board and X&O markers were combined into one model, so I would have to create them myself. There are a bunch of 3D modeling programs out there. A few are Blender, SketchUp, Tinkercad, and Unity. Their learning curves seemed like they would take longer than the week deadline. There was a program I used back in the day called ULead Cool 3D, but it looks like it was discontinued. Then I remembered that Microsoft announced Paint 3D. I just created and placed some rectangles into the form of the board and typed X and O and exported them as 3D models. Now that I have the pieces, it's time to play the game. I wanted the players to be able to place their marker by selecting a space on the board. Luckily, Model Viewer provides hotspots that can add interactivity to the component. And even luckier was you can load Model Viewer components into another Model Viewer. That's how the X and O markers are added to the board. Placing hotspots can be a challenge, so Model Viewer provides a model editor. There's a lot more you can do with the editor, but I just needed to position the hotspots on the board. Now we have players making moves on their own boards, but how can we communicate that to the other player? That's where Vonage comes in. Communication is what we do. I use the Vonage Client SDK to pass game events back and forth and add voice chat. Here's a demo of how it works. That's how I put together a WebXR Tic-Tac-Toe game with voice chat in a week-ish on the tools and technologies built by others. That ish was because of CSS and making it look nice. Here's a link to create your own version of the project. I asked folks more knowledgeable in WebXR for some resources. Ada Rose Cannon suggested immersiveweb.dev, a really great starting place to see what's available in the world of WebXR. Isigul has a front-end master's course where she steps through creating WebXR experiences using different libraries. MySlides.page is where you can find my slides. Lifelong.dev is my website. I'll be doing more of a deep dive into this project in a future WebXR San Francisco meetup. I'll have the details on my site. Finally, I wanted to say thank you to all the people that worked on any of the technologies that made this project possible. To the organizers of TechFAIR Live for having me, and to you for checking out the talk.